This will be a description of Quickdraw version 5.6's ability to do shaft shifting on a threading diagram. Now in this particular case, I'm starting with one of the patterns I've used in other videos. It's actually a 15 shaft pattern, and shaft shifting would allow me to weave that on a 4 shaft loom. So let me start from that. When I ask for shaft shifting, in this case it was woven in summer and winter, so it's 4 warp threads by 8 weft threads. So the 4x8 block is correct, and I can change that by, for example, I could go to a 3 thread to whatever. So I can click those sizes up and down so I can select the block size I want. When I clicked that, a couple of things happened. It actually has created the block diagram on the grid, so if I actually go to the grid and look at that, it's now created the original profile draft. And if I come back over here, I want to actually weave that. Shaft shifting is normally done on 4 shafts, so I'm going to leave that there for the moment. I'm going to talk about the other functions later. It's more of a concept than a proof at the moment. So now when I look back at the pattern, it's actually added 2 more treadles to it and 2 more shafts. This is the lift plan. The upper 2 shafts, you see the upper green line here, is where I've got an available 4 shafts. Now it's actually put 2 shafts up on the top, shaft 16 and 17. And those are actually going to be my pattern shafts. So at the moment, with the simple creation I've done, if I drag the background shaft to shaft 1 and then grab the pattern shaft and move it to shaft 4, for example, now what I have is on the 4 shaft pattern, I've got the ability to weave, and for each of the shafts that's above that green line, i.e. above 4, the shaft shifter will actually shift that thread to either shaft 1 or shaft 4, depending upon what I need to get the pattern. So that question of how those are managed is what's going to be a little bit more magical here. And so when I go to loom help and I ask for weft, it's actually going to scroll down a little bit. It's going to give me that treadling sequence, shot by shot. So it's going to show me on this shot which treadles I need to deal with. It's going to show me where I am in the overall pattern. And the figure here is going to show me which poles need to be done to get the shift band. It's going to say that, okay, they've been set up for the background on the bottom. Let me click up in here. So at that point, it's going to begin the pattern. So there's the bottom of the structure. So it's telling me treadle 3 and 4, because this needs that tabby shot. These are the poles so that all the red threads would be on shaft 1 and the blue threads would be on shaft 4. And I need to press treadles 3 and 4. So that's basically a tabby plus the pattern shafts. The next one is going to give me just the tabby, and then as I continue to cycle through that, it's going to show me whenever those changes need to be made. So based on that technology, I can then go ahead and weave a much more complicated thing than I would normally be able to on the number of shafts I have. So I've actually seen, here is the 17 shaft pattern that I was playing with, and here's the 2 treadles and the shaft shifter set up in order to give me that treadling sequence. Let me go back one more second to this. Now the loom I envision doing this on is actually an 8 shaft loom, and I have a Dobie head for it. So in that case, staying at 4 shafts on the 4x8, when I hit the 4x8, it actually is going to double check that. You'll notice the message down below here that the lift plan supplement has been verified. What that does is looks through as you would do that with a single tie pattern. Yes, that's a valid pattern, that this should work when you do the loom. If that guy is red, then you've got a structure that would not work. Now when I hit the optimize, it's actually going to look through, and again looking at the bottom message here, when I click it, it's going to tell me it would take 138 changes to weave that entire pattern from top to bottom, how many different times those draw cords have to be moved. My vision was to be able to do that on an 8 shaft loom, and I want pattern shaft 1 and 2, and I'm actually going to have 2 warp threads controlled by 1 pole. And then when I hit the optimize, you'll notice I've gone down from the 138 to the 180, and if I look back at the pattern, you see it's actually rearranged the patterns so that I now have the 8 shaft, the tabbies are still here, 1 and 4 are still the draw shafts, but the other treadles that are used most frequently, I can use those to eliminate the need for the manual controls on the shaft switching. So that's how it does that. And then it's adjusted the tie-up so that that happens. So all of that happens when you hit that one magic little optimize box. So I haven't actually woven that one on a loom. That's my next project. But that's the vision for where and how those tools work. And the final piece of that, if I look at the print page setup, let me turn off the normal displays, the draw loom shaft shift profile. If I now look at a print preview, it's actually going to show me shot by shot as it goes up. Here are, the red are the inactive ones, the blues are the active ones. And it's going to tell me how many change. On this shot it would be pull in 7, none to release. The next shot it's release 2 and walk those back up. So that's what that diagram would show me when I printed it.